this is an instructional video on how to go about taking the personality test. Okay, as you can see on the screen, I have up our personality style assessment test. I'm going to scroll down it real quick. As you can see, it's in part 1 and part 2, broken down in two parts. And we're going to explain a little bit about how to go about answering this and how to use the corresponding answer sheets. Now, if you have a Mac system, or even if you have a PC system, you can download the Excel spreadsheet or the numbers spreadsheet that comes with this program. And if you do so, then it's going to make all the calculations so much easier. As you can see, I have charts and graphs, and those things will automatically fill in if you have one of those programs. Now, I have to be honest, I don't have access to Excel. I did a conversion. I'm keeping my fingers crossed it'll work. So if you do have a problem with it, don't blame me. I'm doing the best they can. I just don't have access to Excel or PC systems. I've been a Mac guy, converted years ago, but that's another time and another story. If it becomes an issue, you can simply print it out if you have access to a printer. If you don't have access to a printer, then just get a blank sheet of paper and go ahead and number personality part 1 through 16, and then personality part 2, 17 through 28. And just fill in the answers as you go. Alright, so let's talk about part 1. Basically, part 1 is going to be determined on a 1 to 5 ratio. Okay, so let's just answer the first question together so you can get an idea as an example of how this test is going to take place. The first question is, or actually statement is, I am most comfortable when life is fast-paced and exciting. If that rings true to you, then look at the scale that's above, 1 to 5. If that's always the case, then you would give it a 5. 90% to 100% of the time, as you can see, you would give it a 5, mostly to always. If that's how you feel about that question, and that's how it relates to you, then you would put a 5. If you're like, no, I don't like my life fast-paced, I want it slowed down and calm, then you would probably go to the other extreme. But maybe sometimes you do. Maybe if you're taking a ride at Disney World, it might be a fun time, so sometimes you may feel that way. So just kind of give it a little quick consideration, take about 15 seconds, and then whatever seems more natural for you to answer, you put 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Now, let's look at the personality assessment answer sheet now. So number 1 is here. We're going to look at question 1, and then we go over to answer 1. And for me, I'm kind of 50-50 on that. Sometimes I like fast-paced life, and sometimes I kind of want to slow down a little bit. So I'm going to put a 3. I'm 50-50. Now watch what happens when I do that. If you are looking at the right side of the screen, there's a whole bunch of columns with a bunch of letters assigned to each column, and they are automatically filling in. Now let's say I'm a guy that often likes fast-paced, and only sometimes I like to slow it down. Then I would put a 4, and then when I do that, look what happens to all the other columns. The numbers are populated, they are automatically filled in. If you don't have Excel or numbers, it's pretty simple. Whatever you answer here, you can see we'll do it again. If I put a 5 in there, whatever answer you apply here will reappear in the white boxes. The numbers in the gray will change. Now, if you notice, everything starts out as a 6. This number, whatever you put here, has to be subtracted from 6. Whatever the answer is here. So as you can see, 6 minus 5 gives you 1. Now let's do this again. Let's say I put a 1 in here. Boom. As you can see, the 1 fills in automatically over here. The 5s fill in automatically over here. But again, if you don't have this program, then you would simply carry the 1 over to the white areas and subtract the 6 that's there from 1, and scribble it out and put a 5, or just put a 5 next to it. However you like to do it. But this is what we're going to be doing, and as you can see, And I'm just going to go ahead and just fill in some random numbers here. Let's go and just sort of complete this whole test. 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll speed this. Whoops, not 6. You can't do 6. Maybe 5, and 4, and 3. As you can see, as I populate this questionnaire up, all bunch of numbers are switching down here. If we slide down the chart, we start to get an indication of what we are. Now, based on these random answers, if these were my actual answers, it would seem that I'm pretty well balanced, right? Pretty balanced overall. But I do have a little leaning towards being the tax man and a little leaning towards being the peacekeeper. Kind of split between those two. Okay, so that would be the result of that. So you're going to go ahead and just answer all the questions according to what works best for you. And then let's move on to section, or part 2 of the test. We're just going to change up just a little bit. Okay, now we'll scale on down to part 2. And this one, we're just going to put a 1 next to the best end of the sentence. Okay, so let's start with number 17. I value in myself the ability to, and you're going to finish this up. Get tasks done. I'm a bottom line kind of guy, bottom line results. My ability to be enjoyable, to be around. I value in myself the ability to be dependable and loyal, or to be a non-emotional decision maker. So let's say you value B. You would go over here to Personality Assessment Part 2 and then go right under the B and answer with the letter 1. Okay, and as you can see, the color matches up with the color on the quiz. So if there's not a match, then you know there's something wrong. So let's say I answered 1 for the next one underneath as well. And as you can see, this chart down here is starting to change up a little bit, right? This pie chart. And if I just kept going down here and answering that one all the time and said, and I go, wow, I like this one over here, and I like that, and I go here, and I go here, and then let's say go here, 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 and here. And that's how I answer the entire test. Well, what will happen is everything gets populated, and you can see that on this pie chart, it would say that Showtime is who I am, right? And 25% split between director and peacekeeper, and I rank very low on the taxman sheet. Now, let's go back and let's just answer randomly here so we can get the final population to see what's going on here. And I'm just going to put in some random numbers. Let's say this is how we answered this side, and that's how we answered the other side. We would have a little bit of some disagreements because obviously this is all very random. There's probably going to be a little more congruency in these answers if you actually read through them. So the third part I wanted to show on the answer sheet is what happens when we add these things together. And this will give you more or less what type of personality you are at what percentage of the time. So typically, based on this random process that we've done, it would say that I'm Showtime 28% of the time, and maybe that's how I am on screen, right? And then I'm Taxman the least at only 22% of the time, where I'm giving you some actual facts and figures and numbers. And director is I'm directing how I'm doing, and the peacekeeper is I'm trying to be very gentle and friendly and non-confrontational. So this has sort of a breakdown. But again, this is just very random, just threw some numbers up. When you put in these questions the way they should be put in, or answered the way they should be answered, you're going to come up with a more realistic indication of who you are as an individual. So I just want to point out that none of these things are 100% accurate. They're not intended to be 100% accurate. These things are just to give you an indication of your tendencies and what you might not know about yourself, and give you a little insight as we move forward. Okay, so that's it for the assessment test demonstration, and bravo with that, and continue on with the course, and you'll see me in the rest of the course.